Now, the Ex-Political Prisoners Association continues to express dissatisfaction at the manner in which Robben Island Museum is being run. And this follows ongoing calls by the association for the museum's board to be dissolved and for the implementation of the findings of an investigative report that implicated some board members in corruption. Now, the former political prisoners are also demanding permission to build a wall of remembrance at Robben Island Museum to commemorate all former political prisoners. And let's hear more about these grievances. We're joined now by Mpho Masemola, who is the Secretary General of the Ex-Political Prisoners Association. Thanks so much for coming through.
Thank you, Sakina.
So first and foremost, let's just go back to the genesis of the problem. Why are the ex-political prisoners unhappy?
Yes, Sakina, actually, this issue has been, there for quite a long time. When we left Robben Island, we said a statement that we don't want Robben Island to be, a monument of our suffering, but it should be, a triumph of, very good things over evil things. But subsequently to that, it never happened. We have seen, Robben Island that has been captured by some white monopoly capital and the dockyard mafia.
What do you mean by that? Please just elaborate.
The dockyard mafia, it is the business entities which are, white people who are doing business on the island. And what we said is that because ex-political prisoners have their own socio-economic problems, issues of housing, special pension, they don't get special pension, some of them. And some of them, they are unemployed and, no medical aid. And some of them have been buried as paupers. But these are the people who contributed to the liberation of this country. Then we stood up to say no. We submitted a memorandum last year of 41 points to the Minister of Arts and Culture to say, look, we cannot stand here while we're still alive to see Robben Island as a place of corruption. Robben Island is not a place of corruption. It is a place of freedom, a symbol of freedom. The democracy that people are enjoying today has been crafted on the island. We as political prisoners, we were there. We sacrificed our life. And many, many more also died in prison. But in the past 10 years, we have seen people stealing, on the island through business entities. And with the exclusion of political prisoners, we have seen that our heritage and the legacy of political prisoners have been trampled on.
How so?
For instance, some of the artifacts, that we used to do there on the island while we're still prisoners, we found them 2 weeks ago lying in a trash, in a dustbin. Imagine that. So you are deleting history by doing that. And we called on the person that is responsible for the heritage of Robben Island, who happened to be not a South African, Mr. Pascal Tarovinga. We have been saying to the minister, look, there are so many political prisoners who are qualified. We've got PhDs. Who can be able to look at our heritage better than anybody else. Nelson Mandela's car, which was donated by COSATU, which was supposed to be sitting at the heritage, as an exhibition when you enter the island. It's not there. It disappeared. We had that information that the CHO, who's in charge of our heritage, has been driving the car with his family. Just imagine that.
And this car is the white Mercedes-Benz that Madiba used during the campaigning season.
Yeah, actually it was donated by COSATU, to be an exhibition. Madiba took it to the island. But, we are sitting and watching all these, elements, coming up. The issue of, corruption. But the minister instituted, actually, an independent investigation, forensic, investigation. We have the report, the investigation report, which was submitted to us in July last year. So now, from July up until now, no remedial actions have been taken against those that have been found guilty.
Have you not met with the minister subsequent to that?
No, we've been calling, so many times to speak to the minister, to say, let's come, let's sit down, let's have a dialogue, and let's discuss about these issues. So he has been, avoiding us. He has been, we only see him when he issues some statements, but he doesn't want to talk to us. We only see him on TV when, I don't know whether is he still the minister in charge of our heritage, because we only see him attending funerals of, people who are playing musicians, the musicians and some other things. But he is not, attending issues of Robben Island. Recently, he appointed a board led by the Justice Minister, former Justice Minister, Masute, to, look at, implementing the remedial actions.
And you objected to Masute's appointment to that board. Why?
No, because, look, what we said is that in order to have peace and stability at Robben Island, political prisoners must play a role. Because they keep on saying we are stakeholders of Robben Island. But now, when these decisions are being taken in terms of governance and our heritage, we are being excluded from that processes. We don't know what is the reason behind that. We are saying to them, we want to assist them, we want to help them to say, our heritage, future generations, when we depart this world, they must be able to see these things happening. Currently, all the visitors that are going to Robben Island, they are only been taken to Mandela's cell. I think Madiba should have not agreed with this position, because he is not the only person that was on the island. Because we have 7 sections on the island. We are saying all the sections must be open to the public. Who knows Harry Gwala? Who knows Lawrence Pokanokwe? The mathematician that was on the island? We are saying all this political narrative should be recognized, and our memorization should also, be recognized. That is why 2 weeks ago, Mr. Mlangeni, the Isi Twalawande, the stalwart of the ANC and the patron of the association, make a call to President Cyril Ramaphosa to say he must intervene and, assist the association. Nelson Mandela, in 1995, called for the first reunion of political prisoners. And then he said, this should be, on a continuous going thing. But unfortunately, we went 5 years ago knocking on the president's door, led by the Minister of Culture, of Arts and Culture, Natim Teto, who promised us that there will be a second reunion. The reason why we want a second reunion, it is because we wanted to discuss about our heritage, our artifacts that are disappearing there. We want actually to come back again to see there are some of the things that we want to do on the island. There's a school that is there in Robben Island. We want to transform that school to call it the Robben Island Leadership Development Institute, to assist the youth of this country in terms of, skills and political education.
Mpho Masemola, I guess today marks the beginning of a series of conversations that needs to happen here. So we're going to park it for now, and what we will do is perhaps call on the Department of Arts and Culture, call on the Robben Island Museum and yourselves to take this matter further from here on in, because the allegations are quite serious, and it would be interesting to know why exactly the department hasn't implemented the recommendations of that Mora report. So we'll park park it there for the time being. And that Mpho Masemola is, of course, with the Ex-Political Prisoners Association, the Secretary General, and we'll take this up at a later stage. Time now for sport with Valen.